What is going on, guys? Politics Gaming here, and I am sorry for actually ending that live stream so abruptly. I actually was not able to give credit to where it is due. So I actually did notice that someone did become a member just before I ended that last live stream. So I actually bring back PG predictions. Shit, honestly, I could. But yeah, I actually did notice that someone did become a member just before I ended that last live stream, so I do actually want to congratulate that person for becoming a member. Thank you so much, whoever that was. I really am asking you to kind of like come back, because that actually was just supposed to be some sort of like, I was supposed to, say something. But I actually didn't. So if you were actually in the comments, please make sure that you actually say something so I can congratulate you. Solitaris, thank you so much for becoming a new member. You are actually my second member behind AMN. So actually, if you are actually watching right now and you are unfamiliar with the join option of YouTube, it's actually a very easy way. It's much like actually Patreon to support me. So it's actually I basically get like 70% of the revenue. But it is actually some sort of way just like Patreon, and it's way easier to support me. So if you actually are able to, then joining me to become a member will actually be beneficial to you, because once I actually do get enough members, I am actually going to start doing private live streams. I'm going to be doing a lot of different fun things, and if you actually become there are like 3 options right now, and I could change them. I'll change the benefits as y'all see fit, and it's actually up to y'all on how y'all actually want to become a member. So if you actually have any suggestions of what I could do for members, I will actually be taking that. I will like help y'all out. Are you going to do an automobile trade agreement with the United States? I think I already actually have. The one thing about it was because I have the San Francisco agreement. This was a sales contract for automobile construction. I sold 1.8 million units to the United States for a total revenue making, I guess, of $57.2 billion. This is a 5-year contract. Damn, I could have actually done that in 1 year. For some reason, YouTube Studio is having an issue right now to where like no one is able to watch, or I'm not able to like see how many people are watching. But yeah, this is the San Francisco agreement. This is and it's actually not that good of a contract. I was actually not able to get the sale price to be manageable, because one of the issues of playing a country such as the United States and Japan. Japan and the United States have some of the highest prices in the world, both importing and exporting. So, in turn, you are actually unable to negotiate a really, really good contract without cheating, because the country's, it's not in the country's best interest. So, in turn, it's very hard for you to be able to, get a good contract. Energy wise, what are we doing? Could we? Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and hold off on new ones. Can you shout out my channel? Well, I guess Triple J Dog, welcome to the live stream. Thank you so much for joining. It's got a 2% growth rate compared to 1.41 in the previous quarter. Unemployment is staying around. Tokyo Summer Olympics are going to happen because in real life they're not happening, which is ironic. It's actually really weird that in the United States series, and if you guys actually are experiencing buffering, that's possibly, I don't know what's going on. Something's wrong with YouTube right now. Perfection of the medication against diabetes. Let's go ahead and patent that. We have just perfected a technology. We are not the first, but we can profit a lot. Let's go ahead and patent it. Let's be the first one in the world to actually patent it. And we have a meeting with the Prime Minister of Ireland. Let's go ahead and do that. And if you guys are actually watching right now, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. All right. Let's go to services. Let's see what we can do over here. Railway transportation, we are making. Let's go ahead and manage the workforce. Can we do 75,000 workers in that field? It's going to cost another $2 billion, but nationalizations are actually honestly pretty beneficial. It's actually, let me actually explain it after I do this. We have a natural gas agreement with Ireland. Huh, I didn't even know they actually had their hands on that. They want to purchase natural gas from Japan. Yeah, no, sorry. Let's go ahead and end that meeting. Pretty disappointing meeting. Enlargement of Russia. We're going to vote against the enlargement of Russia. And we have all of that. And again, if you're watching this, please go ahead and consider joining my Discord. We have an Earth Overshoot Day. As you know, every year our organization calculates the Earth Overshoot Day based on the amount of non-renewable resources that humanity removes from the Earth. Well, that day is today. We have now consumed all the resources that Earth can renew in a year. Our ecological credit continues to diminish. We are still heading for a dark and uncertain future. Soon we'll be back in the Stone Age. I could actually honestly do a series where I am actually able to do something like that. That would actually be pretty cool. The enlargement of Russia, basically the enlargement of Russia is a G7 vote. Basically, if the G7 wants to allow Russia back in to the G7, which would make it the G8. So that's a part of that's what the enlargement of Russia means. We have a meeting with the Bosnia and Herzegovinian Prime Minister. Let's go ahead and accept that meeting. And there's Turkey right there. Hey, what's going on, Snowy Night? Welcome to the live stream. Why did you vote against it? I'm going to vote against it. Mostly, well, actually, I could probably honestly vote pro because I do want some stronger relations with the Russian Federation. So that could actually be, I thought it was about recognizing Crimea as a Russian territory. I love playing this game as Japan starting to want the worst deficit and making it a surplus. Yep. If you actually have any suggestions on how you actually make a surplus for the Japanese government, please let me know. I'm still kind of waiting on it. And usually I like to approach the economic situation in Japan with a lot of, I guess, some sort of, I like to approach it realistically. I don't like to, I don't want to depend on the industrial pollution tax. That's really unrealistic. Having a high unemployment, technically, 1% isn't really high. At least revenue-wise, this is a huge cash cow right here. So if you have any other ways of actually recommending it without cutting spending, and at least, having some sort of revenue situation to where it's, manageable. Are you going to try and conquer any Pacific islands like the Philippines or Taiwan? No, I am actually not. If you've actually noticed anything about my channel, I'm not some sort of expansionist person. For some reason, whenever I actually play these kinds of games, I actually don't like to do military conquest, especially whenever... Are you going to create the Fourth Reich? I don't know, honestly. But for some reason, at least whenever I'm playing... I really don't like to have some sort of expansionist policy. It's I guess I just don't like to go to war. So games basically where I am able to manage the policy of the country while also getting into war when I actually, and it's a necessity, I guess. Those are usually the times whenever I do go to war. I go to war whenever it's necessary. I don't like to go to war just for no reason. So if the North Koreans attack me, I'm going to defend myself, but I'm not going to go on some sort of conquest. Now imagine a Minecraft server where you can run for political office and create a law, or just craft about. Damn, I need. Damn, I need to get a Minecraft. I need to get Minecraft. Who wants to start a PG fund where, like, oh my god, who wants to make a Minecraft server and do like a freaking country? Let's do it. That would be fun. Parliament, cabinet. No, I don't want to form another government. Let's go ahead and get rid of this next song. I do it by nationalizing the banks and introducing financial transaction taxes slowly, where it gives more money to the VAT, where it gives more money than the VAT, then cutting other taxes to keep the economy growing. Let's go ahead and take that advice. Let's go to banks. Let's go ahead and do a minority shareholder involvement with the banks. It's going to pass, thankfully. Only those who conquer deserve respect. Yep, PG does not deserve respect. I apologize. Let's go ahead and see what Bosnia-Herzegovina wants to do. They want to sell me 3 million tons of coal. They actually have a surplus of coal, so they want to sell it to me. And production, it's basically minimal to the amount of coal that we need, and we actually are already importing 316 million tow worth of coal. So we're going to go ahead and refuse that contract right there. We're going to end the meeting with the Bosnia and Herzegovinian Prime Minister. So while Japan is on top of the world at the 2020 Olympics, thank God, and then tax on financial transactions, let's increase that by 0.2. That's going to be voted against, unfortunately. We're going to wait to see what the public reaction to that is. And let's... we don't have the ability to actually... Let's go ahead and meet with the Japanese Liberal Front leader. Let's see if we can at least try to do something. There is a hostage taking in the capital, unfortunately, by the Japanese Revolutionary League. Begone, Bosnia-san. Will you be expanding the Air Force and Navy, however? Yes. Basically, I'm actually going to show you in a minute once I meet with this lady right here. Let's... Damn it. Financial transactions. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do the Para-Olympics. So actually, military-wise, I actually am expanding the military. I am buying a lot of equipment. I actually did buy a few rounds of equipment from the United States. I am actually uptrending my military capacity. So if I actually... Hurricane reaches the coast of Japan. Holy crap. Let's go ahead and order an evacuation. I actually didn't see it coming in. Have you raised the birth rates yet, PG? No, I actually haven't. Imagine he will plug the gap with immigration. Does Japan have a military? Fun fact about Japan. Japan actually does not have a military. Basically, it's not the kind of military that you would think it is. I actually know a lot about the Japanese history after World War II. Basically, when the Japanese adopted their new constitution that they are actually off of right now, basically there is a clause, and this constitution was drafted in 1953. Basically, the Japanese constitution allows the Japanese government to maintain a self-defense force. The Japanese self-defense forces into 5 different military branches, or self-defense branches. They have the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force, the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Force, the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force, and the Japanese, maybe, I don't know what the other one is. But basically, they do actually have a self-defense force, which by Article 9 of the Japanese Constitution does not allow them to use it offensively. So, for example, actually, so the hurricane was down here. That's like where Iwo Jima is. There's 2 more hurricanes heading toward. Oh my god. I wish the hurricanes wouldn't do that. So for example, the Japanese government was actually a part of the Iraqi coalition whenever the United States invaded Iraq in 2003. But the thing is that the Japanese were not allowed like constitutionally, the Japanese were not allowed to actually engage. They were not allowed to engage first. So whenever, it's actually really cool because there was a city that the Japanese self-defense force was in, that whenever the Japanese were actually attacked, they probably, I don't think they were actually allowed to respond back. They were actually guarded by a Canadian military unit, and then they were allowed to kind of move through and do whatever. So the Japanese military is actually really interesting. However, in recent years, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has actually been changing the constitution to allow the Japanese military to actually act in offensive purposes. So beforehand, the Japanese were not allowed to patrol military ships around, like the Ryukyu Islands. However, now that has changed to where they are allowed to do that now. So let me actually look down here. Let's actually come over here. Let's go to Army. Let's go to Construction. Let's build a naval base in the Ryukyu Islands. And because they're actually in the Ryukyu Islands, Okinawa, then just north of Naha, the Americans actually have a place right there. So we are going to go ahead and build our own naval military base to start expanding our military power into this southern part of the East China Sea. Yeah, Japan honestly is really interesting. Japan basically became a Western nation. Japan used to stand alone more. Yeah. I presume the self-defense only clause was at the insistence of the United States. Yes. The United States was actually the one who allowed them, or basically somewhat forced them into adopting some sort of isolationist, more kind of like they just don't mess around with other countries. China messes with them, but the Japanese are only allowed to act in self-defense. They're only allowed to engage in self-defense. You should try to increase good relations with South Korea. Yeah, first one to actually be able to, I don't know what I would be able to, give you as a prize, but, if anyone can actually tell me why South Korea and Japan hate each other, you get a shout out, I guess. Because there is actually a really interesting reason why the South Koreans and the Japanese actually hate each other. At least the South Koreans hate the Japanese. I don't think it's the other way around. All right. Let's go to services. Is the banks that already passed? That is going to pass on 8/24. So we have about a day before that actually passes. So the vote takes place today, and then the next day we should actually, the law has been passed. Public sector is happy. It is because of how the Japanese treated the Koreans during World War II occupation, because they refused to admit their atrocities to this day. Yep, basically. Yep, Mr. K is right. Bro, your series are great. Thank you. Alright, so do we want to vote pro or against the expansion of the G7 to include Russia? Let's go ahead and do pro, honestly. I think it needs like unanimous support, so I don't think it's going to pass. And therefore not yet unanimity, I guess. Yep, Russia's request has been refused, and I believe that actually all of the countries actually vote against it. So unfortunately, that is one of the things. I don't know why there's such a graphical glitch with these typhoons and hurricanes, to where it literally does something like this. Like, watch it. Watch the center of it. Watch the center. And it's gonna, like, disappear. Oh, yep. I guess that's a thing. You can do better. Either your economy is among the greatest. I don't know tons about Japan though. Why would you nationalize the banks? Um, Only because, making sure that the banks aren't doing something that they shouldn't be. Having a little bit of government involvement is actually somewhat beneficial. It's not my actual feeling. I'm just going off of what the Japanese government is thinking. Storm. Looks like that helps. We're going to be making a little bit off of this. Wonder if I do a TV address, this is going to work. And that slightly helps, I guess. Oh, okay, let's meet with the leader again. Try to see if we can actually help. A little bit of, Russia's about to start dropping nukes. What do you mean? In the game? Oh, yeah, because they got refused. I mean, that happens every, other G7 session. Okay, we got this beautiful lady right here. Let's see if we can tell her that she is charming. What is her loyalty vis-a-vis the head of states? She likes it. What? How corruptible are you? 42. No, looks like she wouldn't. Let's give her the Presidential Medal of Freedom, I guess, in the game. Nuking during the pandemic would be crazy. Yeah, finally. Ah, damn it. Uh-oh, do we have a riot? Don't be a riot. Please don't be a riot. Oh, Hyperloop is done. All right. The characters in this game are scary. Yeah, they are, honestly. And let me... Wow, we have 26 people watching this live stream right now. That is awesome, guys. Let me actually come over here. I'm gonna go ahead and give a quick shout out to AMN and Solitaris. Thank you guys so much for joining the membership tab. This really does help out my channel. And again, once I actually do get enough people to join in on the membership, I will actually start holding members only live streams. These live streams will be able to have just, one-on-one conversations. It would be actually really fun. If you are actually not, please join the Discord as the Nightbot posts it. Hyperloop transportation between the major cities. Hello, hey, what's going on, the Gamers team? Welcome to the live stream. Recent efforts to reduce CO2 emissions have actually put us in compliance with international objectives for 2030. That's awesome. I know the United States is not going to be doing anything like that. Looks like the United States is going to be electing a brand new president very soon. So hopefully we actually, and I believe they're actually in their own Republican alliance. This was the 2016 election, 2018 election, 2019 elections, and in Canada, the Canadian Democratic section actually won the election in 2019. France, we have the center formation. The Sovereign France Front is actually number 2. This is the 2017 election. 2017 elections in Britain, 42.7 to 40.3. This is actually way different now. 2016 elections in the Russian Federation, 57% were actually voted for by that. No elections being held in China. 2017 elections in South Korea, looks like the Liberal Democratic Party is in the lead right now. 2019 elections in the Republic of India, 28.7 for the Citizens Republican Movement. A Japan-US war would be fun. Whoever goes to war with the US would probably get my support. Oh, yeah. Pakistani Union for Convergence, 41.5 to 31.7 for the National Muslim Union. We actually have really, really strong relations with the Commonwealth of Australia. So I actually signed a support treaty with them. Let's actually invite, instead of inviting, let's create another military alliance. Let's go ahead and have a formal strategic pact with the Commonwealth of Australia that's very, very likely to be accepted. Let's go ahead and see that. Yep, your interlocutor has accepted. This agreement has now been signed. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Finally have one good strategic pact with at least another country in the world. So let's go to energy. Let's see what's going on over here. I actually did nationalize the entire 3G EPR nuclear electricity. We are actually producing 71% of the world's nuclear power, so that is awesome. The US is dying anyway. A war may not even need to finish it off. I hope. Jesus Christ, Muse. That's dark. That is really dark. Army, let's see what's going on here. Let's go ahead and increase this by about 5,000 troops. And hopefully the public reaction isn't that bad. We have a sit-in by the Pacifist Union. Very, very strong Pacifist Union in Japan. 9.8 million people. They really, really do not like us. Let's call for a police intervention to call that off. We don't really need a military intervention as of right now. TEPCO is nationalized IRL. Are they actually? And what is TEPCO? I have actually never heard of TEPCO. Been voted on, but the law has not been passed. Of course, of course, of course. Let's see what kind of contracts. We actually do have a Japan-Brazil bauxite agreement going on. We are importing 2.2 million tons worth of bauxite for $86 million. We're getting that done in 1 year, so that is really good. Yeah, see, the thing is that, hoping that the United States is actually going to die off, hoping the United States is dying off, especially if you live in Britain or something like that. Britain is not that much better. Britain is, Britain. I mean, you had an empire. The empire is gone now, and militarily, I mean, NATO is very, very much reliant on the United States. Wow, Denmark really, really does not like me. But yeah, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, all of them are extremely reliant on the United States for their military protection. If the United States falls, then the Russians are definitely going to be expanding their influence across Europe. And if you're more, I guess, feeling safe with the Russians actually, over your head, then yeah. And even if the United Kingdom actually took advantage of something, they do not have the military and political power to do so. I mean, the United Kingdom is on the verge of collapse. Scotland wants to leave. Wales, is Wales. Northern Ireland, the situation in Northern Ireland is already an issue. So the United Kingdom is not in a position to try and be, the lonely island, I guess. A lot of anti-US sentiment. I even met a Canadian that was blaming the US for COVID. A radical change. This is the Colombo space program? Not really familiar with that, but I guess since it gets us approval. But can America be trusted more than Russia necessarily? Well, it really depends. I mean, the United States does have an issue to, where they want to be the world's policeman. So the way I kind of see it is more of a situation that if the United States drops, do you feel like that you would be safer? Because there is going to be a power vacuum. There is going to be a power vacuum unlike we have ever seen in the world. So if the United States drops, collapses or enters a economic situation similar to the 1930s, to where we are unable to project our power across the world, Do you feel like that because if that happens, there's going to be a power vacuum, and the Russians and the Chinese are going to seize that opportunity. There are no other countries in the world that are powerful enough to seal up that power vacuum. And the Russians in Europe are going to expel their power onto Germany, onto Poland, onto Ukraine, onto France, onto Spain, onto the United Kingdom. The Chinese are going to expel their power onto South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, Southeast Asia, Australia. Russia can't do anything. If the US collapses, China takes over. Mars Hope program, space program, imminent liftoff. Let's go ahead and watch this. I just love the fact that we're talking. Yeah, I mean, I'm extremely interactive with my community, so I do actually enjoy having these conversations with y'all. Okay, hopefully we do not see this thing blow up. If this ends right on takeoff, we really need to revitalize our space program. So hopefully like right here is whenever it's supposed to blow up. If not, yep, we're good. Takeoff is good. We are in space. Finally, that mission is on its way to Mars. As a Scotsman, I'm not really convinced Scotland would vote for independence. There's no real appetite for another one. Most seem to think the Scottish government are prioritizing another referendum over more important issues. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Hey, what's going on, Michael? Hey, what's going on, Michael? Welcome to the live stream. Still waiting on that debate. Question about power and revolution. I played as Saudi Arabia and all I did was sell oil and constant growth in the game. Is that normal? Yeah, I mean, having economic contracts that are extremely beneficial to you are good. I mean, Saudi Arabia is in an economic situation basically to where their prices are extremely low. So whenever you sell to the United States, especially sell at least to someone that needs oil, the United States or China, you're going to be in a position basically to where you are able to sell. Oh my God, look at the Middle East. Oh my God, look, Syria, it has like 2 big giant terrorist attacks, 20 people dead in this one, 37 dead in this one. We have a plague outbreak, 38 are dead, 140 are infected. We have another terrorist attack, 40 dead in southern Damascus. God. Britain still believe they are an empire. They're lucky they have those little islands over the world because the US defends them on the UNO. Germany and the UK are super technology power. Russia can't win the EU. Well, okay. See, the thing is that an EU, a united EU, would honestly be pretty much impossible. I mean, Angela Merkel is resigning her position after this next her next term. This is her last term. The reason she is resigning, I mean, she's been in power since 2006. She's been working to get some sort of united Europe, and she has failed to do so. So that is why she is resigning. And with that in mind, I mean, the United States of Europe is not a possibility. The EU is already fracturing as it is. The United Kingdom is left. I mean, President of Libya. I really don't think I have an interest in meeting with Libya, so no. Merkel resigning. Let's go! Hell yeah! She let those refugees in, I think 1.5 million or so in 2015 or so. Yeah, a lot of Germans really, really did not like it. So that combined with her failure to create a united Europe, that is her reasoning why she's resigning. She doesn't have the ability to create a united Europe. So, I mean, in turn, that's the reason why. So, to think that a united Europe could actually face off against Russia, it would take a full-scale invasion of the European continent by the Russian military to actually unite these places. If the United States was not involved in NATO and Article 5 if the United States was not involved in NATO, basically the way it would work is that if the Russians invaded Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, then the European Union and NATO itself, without U.S. involvement, would be impossible to actually fend off the Russians. The NATO without the United States would have to make negotiations with Russia to make sure that they actually are not invaded themselves, because they militarily cannot fend against Russia. None of these countries except France and the United Kingdom actually have nuclear weapons. And even then, the nuclear weapons programs of the United Kingdom and France are very much minimal against a massively more advanced Russian nuclear base. The United States is the only country in the world that actually has a nuclear arsenal that can match the Russians and the Chinese. The Chinese nuclear wise don't have that much of a nuclear program. I mean, they actually only have maybe a few hundred nukes. The Russians have over 2,000 nukes, while the Americans actually have just over 1,500, I believe. Yeah, and the Russians, I mean, they're still, waiting. They still have very aged technology. I mean, they do actually have some of the most advanced technology in the world, but at the same time, they are not militarily capable of taking over the European continent and keeping it. Then the United States is still, the one country that is actually, keeping the Russians from trying something like that, because militarily the Russians can take on the Baltic states. Yeah, of course. These guys are literally incapable of doing so. The EU wouldn't be able to take on Russia or China. Yeah, exactly. France, I think, actually does have a notable sort of arsenal compared to the UK. The United Kingdom does not have a nuclear trident. I don't know if the French actually have a nuclear trident. I think they actually have probably 2 of 3 on the trident, but the United Kingdom has a very, very interesting nuclear program. Basically, they have 4 nuclear submarines capable of launching nuclear missiles. They actually retired their land-based nuclear arsenal because they felt like they didn't need it. It's also because, they're so compact that there's nowhere to actually safely and securely put their nuclear arsenal. So they let it out to sea. Thank you so much, James, for that $2 donation. It really, really does help. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. How's it going? I like watching your videos, your politics videos. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. UK has, but it's classified. Yeah, the United Kingdom actually has only 4 nuclear submarines. And basically the way their nuclear program works is actually they always have at least one out at sea. And there is actually a tradition in the United Kingdom called the letter of last resort, or the letters of last resort. And if you actually don't know what the letters of last resort are, basically the letters of last resort is a policy by the United Kingdom nuclear program to where whenever an incoming prime minister takes office, they have to write 4 identical, exactly alike letters to all 4 captains of these nuclear submarines. And the reasoning is that if the United Kingdom is attacked and the entire government is cut off from these submarines, because these submarines are nowhere to be found. No one knows where they are except the United Kingdom. Why is Bosnia and Herzegovina like yellow? That's interesting. I haven't seen that before. I guess it's because they're new. But yeah, like at least one of these submarines is out at sea whenever they actually have it. Canada does not have nuclear weapons. The United Kingdom does. And so basically inside of the letters, no one knows what these letters say, because whenever the next prime minister of the United Kingdom comes in, they actually have to burn them. So whenever they are cut off from the government of the United Kingdom, they open these letters, and it basically has like 4 different options, and it says like surrender to the enemy, surrender to a friendly nation such as the United States or Australia, take your better it also allows the captain to take his better judgment, basically doing whatever he feels is right, which is very likely, honestly, the very likely scenario that a lot of these prime ministers actually do, unless they're very radical. And then the 4th one is actually to wipe out the enemy that they believe attacked them. So they're leaving the choice in the hands of these submarine captains to basically, if they're cut off from the United Kingdom, they have the option to surrender to the enemy, to go to a friendly nation and surrender there, use your better judgment, or attack the enemy and then try to kill as many of them as possible. So that's actually a really fun fact about the United Kingdom. But yeah, without a nuclear trident, your nuclear program is not that advanced. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get back with the Japanese. Wow, we have 40 people watching this live stream. Awesome. I don't know why I have to keep refreshing it, but yeah, thank you all for watching. If you're watching this right now, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Super chatting is appreciated. If you're watching this and you actually like my Power and Revolution content, please support me and my Power and Revolution content by becoming an official member of the channel today. And if you actually become a member and I get enough members, I want to shoot for at least 10 members. And you can do whatever membership you want. Once I get to 10 members or more, I actually will start doing private Power and Revolution live streams to basically, you know, I mean, I'm going to be able to do whatever and say whatever I want. You know, we can have better conversations than, you know, having a public live stream. So if you want to become a member, join the membership today and have some better benefits tomorrow. Let's go ahead and expand my offshore wind power facilities. Let's go over here to invest a couple $2 billion into offshore wind. Let's go for 3 more of these. Let's build these off the coast. And then we still have those nuclear power plants on the way. What is the terms for a Japanese prime minister? 4 years. I believe it is actually 4 years. I would have to check. Let me go ahead and build these final facilities, and then I'll actually check on the term. We're spending nearly $100 billion on my energy grid. That is crazy, actually. Issuance of $8.52 billion worth of debt. That is awesome. China discovers stem cell reproduction. I actually already discovered that before, I believe. Let's go ahead and build an oil platform off the coast. Let's go ahead and build this right here. Poor Michigan. A damn broken Michigan. Oof. Yeah, that is crazy. Someone actually sent they actually sent an emergency alert out, and it was one of the craziest things that I've ever read. It says basically like, get your stuff, get out. There is a dam about to fail. Please evacuate. And God, it was weird. What do you think about the situation in Venezuela? Do you think the change of power occurred with the COVID spread, along with the UK holding Venezuelan gold from Maduro government? Honestly, really, my opinion on that is more so because I don't believe that, you know, because the only people that actually care about Venezuela are the people who are trying to use it as a reason why we shouldn't adopt socialism. So actually, I'm actually from Texas, by the way. I'm actually not, I don't really have an opinion on the Maduro government. I know what the Maduro government is bad, and I'm not really judging it because of their economic situation. I'm not saying it because they're socialist. I'm not hating on them because they are socialist. I don't care what kind of economic system they have. What I care about is what they are doing to their people. And what they are doing to their people is pretty bad. So, yeah, I am against the Maduro government. I do believe that there should be a change in the government system of Venezuela, but I don't necessarily, try to brag on it, because they are socialists, which is the only reason why I believe a lot of people actually even say anything about it. Because they say, oh, well, I mean, you want this, that, well, go to Venezuela, you're going to have a better system of government. No, you're not going to have a better system of government. The main problem with Venezuela is not socialism. Yeah, I don't believe that their main issue is about socialism. I believe it's because of the lack, economic diversity is a better way to actually put it, because their system of financing everything was through oil, and whenever oil collapsed, that was the reason why they actually had the situation where they are now, because they're not able to pay for things that they were doing, and they had a very, very expensive government to run. So whenever you fund most of your operations through oil, yeah, you're going to have an issue in a couple of years, especially whenever that oil is going to run out very, very soon. The main issue with any nation is people. Yep, I also believe that is too. The lack of diversity is another big factor. Yes, kind of, but Russia screwed up too. The US didn't want them to have a big army. For when? No, well, the reason we have the sanctions on Russia is because they illegally... There is a famine in Japan. The Kanto region of Japan is suffering a famine. What the hell? Oh god, this is going to be expensive. Oh no, what do we do? How do I stop this? Let's give $500 million in aid. I know these things are extremely expensive, like the amount of money that they end up costing. $90 billion. Oh god. Let's give $100 billion. I have just received food, water, and requirements have risen to $90 billion. How much do you desire to increase aid? Yikes. So for some reason, I always end up finding myself in a famine as Japan. It's always kind of weird. Financial payments. I've already given $90 billion to this precariousness, particularly in Kanto. Our experts estimate that water and food requirements amount to $90 billion approximately. How much do you wish to assign us to that? So I'm going to go ahead. Food prices in Kanto is where 1/3 of the Japanese people live. Yep, basically. Let's... Oh god, wow, we are funding this is going to be an extremely high amount of money that we're going to be paying. See what our debt situation is, see what's going to happen. Public debt, 233%. That is actually slightly going up. Budget deficit, $88 billion. Water supply networks need to be subsidized. I am already subsidizing water supply networks. That is already a thing. Honestly, this game could be so much better if someone like Paradox had their hands on it. No, honestly, I have to. I've heard that, thing so much. I honestly think that Paradox would ruin it, because Paradox is not focused on the economy. They're not focused on the military. They're focused on the military, definitely, but they're not focused on the inner depths of the economy, on politics. They're not focused on that. They're focused on taking over the world, basically. And that's why I usually don't really like playing a lot of Paradox games. And even Hearts of Iron, Millennium Dawn isn't that fun because it's not focused on the politics. It's focused on military conquest. And in a World War II, Paradox has a horrible economic system. And this is one of the only games to where the economic system is actually really, really cool. What do you think about 4th generation warfare? 4th generation warfare is actually interesting. Financial payment to fight this blight. Hang on. Let's give him another $10 billion See what happens there. Estimation, damage, and progress. 7,000 people have died from this famine. Some systems are definitely broken. Yeah, obviously there's going to be broken systems. There's always broken systems every game. There's broken systems in Paradox games. The only beneficial thing that Paradox would be able to bring to the table for this game is a multiplayer server. But in my opinion, at least, I do believe that Paradox is able to. I believe that Eversim is doing something right in this game because, you know, they're sticking to their guns. I mean, look, I mean, this is something that we're not able to get. It is extremely rare to find a game like this, and the only other game that is even comparable is the political process. And that's only the political process only, you know, makes it the outcome of the famine, 13,000 dead. On the other hand, the situation remains stationary for the moment. Good. Have a handle on the situation with the famine. $110 billion is how much it's costing us right now. We have a hurricane moving in. Wow, and we're just getting a lot of things done, aren't we? Honestly, I don't understand the inflation in GPS 4. It's actually pretty interesting. I mean, the inflation is something to keep an eye on. It's just inflation basically is just how much the prices are increasing or decreasing at a given time. So if you actually are able to pay attention to some of the prices in the game, these prices are actually going up and down, such as aluminum. Aluminum's price is always going to be going up and down. So we have price, tax included, per 1,000 tons. So then that's going to be $3,000 per ton. So, and then as inflation increases, that number is going to be going up and down. You pretty much always know what effect the policy or action will have on approval after a while. Yeah, and I already have that. Famine, reconstitution of food stocks. Prime Minister, we have begun restoring emergency reservoirs through the setting up of cereal and rice stores outside of Kanto, which still remains a very sensitive zone. Stocks are slowly being rebuilt. So I guess some sort of issue that happened was that the government was unable to deliver enough food toward the Japanese people. How many are... Oh, wow. 26,000 are dead. 2.7 million people are being affected by this famine. Let's go over to farming. Let's go to... because we're already subsidizing everything in food. Let's go to maize. Let's exonerate the sector, since actually, how much money are we making off of this? Income tax 2.7%. We have 2.8 million people in the sector. This has actually been going up. Do you have any plans to play as illegal opposition anytime I find building a nation out of the rough is interesting? Yeah. I don't believe Eversim could afford that in a million years. Yeah. How do you get a famine in Japan? I think one of the reasons why I actually got a famine... Okay, for one thing, let's go ahead and start converting to organic farming. Let's give that about half the funding that it needs. It's going to cost us about $6 billion. Because we actually had no funding into organic farming. So that was interesting. ZK Gaming, what's going on? I actually have not seen you here. We have the video game tournament, final results. Here are the final figures for the famine that has affected our country. 26,000 dead and 2.7 people are still under the threshold for normal nutrition levels. In Kanto, the most affected region, a large part of the population is weakened. Scarcity risks are ruled out, but malnutrition is still present. So let's actually go over to, not finance, let's go to farming. And undernourished population has actually been pretty minimal. I mean, 1% of the population is actually undernourished. And then percentage of organic farming has actually been very, very low. But now it is seeing an increase since we actually just gave it like half funding. Can you ban video games? I would do that. Actually, no, you can't actually ban video games technically. If you guys are watching this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Super chats are actually really appreciated. Becoming a member, hit that join icon and become a member of the Politics Gaming today. It would actually really much help out. Looks like that the number of affected that are actually being affected by this famine are going down. This was actually 2 million beforehand. 221,000 are now being affected by this famine. So finally those numbers are going down, which is a really good sign. I think the reason why this famine actually happened was because in the future, we actually are going to be suffering several more famines, possibly, especially in maybe even Western countries. People are going to start going hungry even more, which could technically be considered a famine. So that would actually possibly be the reason why Japan does not have the adequate space, I guess, to produce food for 125 million people. I mean, look at this, 125 million people. Let's go to immigration. Let's go ahead and change our integration policy to open. Let's see if we can actually get that passed. 53% say that they're actually going to vote for it, so that is good. We finally get it a little toward that. But since we are actually running out of a workforce, we cannot depend on ourselves anymore. We need to depend on the world to actually do that. So if anyone wants to come to the country, they are now free to, once we actually change the law. Hopefully we actually change our immigration situation. We actually have a lot of people leaving the country, and that combined with the amount of people that we are losing because of the low birth rate that we actually have. Look at that. Negative 0.27 population growth, and it continues to go down. If you guys actually have any suggestions on how to get this to a positive level, please let me know. Any chance of having another giveaway on the political process? I could actually contact the guy, see if he's interested in doing another giveaway, so I could actually try to see if I can work something out with that. How realistic is a famine in a first world country? Honestly, with recent news, I actually think it's actually pretty realistic. I mean, we are in a timeline basically where we have to deal with climate change. And as the climate changes, there are going to be a couple of instances in a couple of countries, and in this case it's actually Japan, to where, we're going to have a scarcity of food. So in this case, I mean, the Kansai region has 51 million people. It's 40% of the population of Japan. So, packing that many people inside of one region, there's going to be a scarcity of food at a couple of points. So 212,000 people are being affected, 37,000 are dead. $110 billion is how much it's costing the national government. Energy situation, we have finally those 2 more nuclear power plants are on the way, and they're now producing plenty of electricity for the Japanese government. So energy wise, let's look. 336 terawatts are being produced by nuclear power, 164 terawatts are being produced by that, and we also did cut down those fossil energy plants, and in return our CO2 emissions have plummeted. We are now producing less than 1 gigaton of CO2, so that's awesome. Geothermal plants, how many do we actually have? Geothermal, 9.25 terawatts being produced by geothermal plants. Does Japan actually have any aircraft carriers? And realistically, yes, they actually have like 1 aircraft carrier, and it's actually a helicopter carrier. So back onto the point to where we were talking about Japan's constitution and military, Japan actually is restricted. The Japanese constitution restricts the Japanese government from producing or owning aircraft carriers, bombers, and anything, again, that can be used offensively. So that's actually an interesting thing about the Japanese military is, again, they are actually restricted from owning offensive weapons such as aircraft carriers and what do you call them? I don't know why you would hide that. But yeah, like that is actually a really interesting thing. Let's go ahead and build 8 different cruisers and frigates. Let's go ahead and buy these from the United States. That's going to be done by 2023. What if I actually do 2 at a time? All right, let's go ahead and get that done. We're going to go ahead and just go through that, see if we can get that done by 2023. Restricted by the U.S. after World War II. Yep, they were restricted after World War II. They were restricted from owning. Has developed a return to Earth. Finally, we are actually really good on doing some of these missions by ourselves instead of relying on international cooperation. Relaunch from a celestial body. Stem cells, finally. Let's go ahead and accept the patenting of that research. That would actually be really cool. In this game, you can increase birth rates. But that's what I really don't know, how to do that, actually. So if you actually have any suggestions on how to do it, I would actually be open to enacting those policies. Let's go to aircraft carriers, do rank 3. Japan actually has production. Let's go ahead and build 1 new aircraft carrier for ourselves. And are we still suffering from this famine? 209,000 people are being affected by it. Looks like we have a lot of relaunching. A lot of these things coming from this Minister of Education. We actually are researching a lot of good stuff. So that is why. Maternity benefits help a little bit, as well as spamming maternity hospitals. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to health. Maternity hospitals. Let's build them max. Actually, in reality, let's go ahead and build about $50 billion worth of these maternity hospitals. That'll actually help out our birth rate situation quite a bit. 500 new, or about 600 new of these facilities. Interestingly enough, Abe's government wants to change the pacifist amendments of the Constitution. Yeah, and that's actually what I was talking about earlier. I think they have the self-defense force pretty much. That's not the police. Yeah, it's literally just some sort of defense. It's literally what it means. It's a defense force. Hey, what's going on, Damien? Welcome to the live stream. Thank you so much for that $2 donation. President, who? No way. Hang on. Chuck Schumer. We're going to buy an aircraft carrier from ourselves for $5 billion. A Democratic government is now in the United States. That is crazy. Let's look at this. 88%. 88%. Oh my God. Why? Wow, that is awesome. 88% of the United States voted for Charles Schumer. That is, wow. The current government of the United States is now a Democrat. That is crazy. That is... Let's go ahead and invite this guy over for a meeting. Let's... Burke Schuster. My main man, Burke Schuster. I don't even know. I don't know if that's Joe Biden. No, that's not Joe Biden. I don't even think Joe Biden is in the game. Turn Japan into a republic. I could. Let's go ahead and call for a military intervention on that. I really don't know how to check the eight of these surface ships. That's $7 billion. I guess. Let's go ahead. Ooh, naval base has been completed. Let's go ahead and start building some military units over there. Let's go ahead and change the song real quick. And literally anyone but Schumer. Schumer 2020. Everyone say hashtag Schumer 2020. Hell yeah. And if you guys have not, please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. I don't know why it's hiding all of these comments. That's weird. Come on, I don't want to be hiding all these comments. Speak your mind. I think it's Nightbot that's actually doing all of that. So if you're making a comment and then it's actually hiding it, that's not me hiding it. So I do apologize for that inconvenience. What Politics Gaming? What do you think about Joe Biden? I mean, do you think he may win in some crazy way? Well, I mean, honestly, I do believe that the Democrat does have the upper hand in this election. Again, we are dealing with a president that is very unpopular. I mean, so yeah, I do believe that Joe Biden does have a very strong chance of becoming the president of the United States. 11:25. Let's go ahead and go to whenever that is actually completed. We are now less than 1 year away from the election, so that is going to be on our minds. If that's okay, we don't have that. Still dealing with the famine. When is the next USA presidential election? The next presidential election of the United States is being held on November 3rd, 2020. So, get rid of Nightbot. Nah. Nightbot is actually doing pretty well for me. The only thing is I just need to go in and I need to make sure that it's not hiding you. So that'll I'll make sure that's done by the next live stream. Law on the integration policy. Let's go ahead and see what kind of immediate effect takes place. Still doesn't change the migration flow. So unfortunately that is not a thing. So what's the point ultimately? About what? Let's go ahead and actually do what's one of y'all actually said. Let's go to head of state. Let's go to communication. Let's order a poll. Let's see the opinion on the head of state's actions, the basic poll of voting intentions. And let's go ahead and do like a full-on poll. Take a poll of everything. He's not protectionist, actually. In my opinion, actually, whenever I'm at least like in game, I'm actually very protectionist. I'm actually very much likely to just, protect certain people, I guess, certain countries. If I have a very strong trade relationship with them, yeah, I'm going to protect them. If I have a military alliance with them, yeah, I'm going to go to war with them. But just if there's a country, if Turkey and Syria go to war, for example, I'm not going to get involved in that. So if it directly affects my economy and my self-security, then yeah, I'm going to get involved. It really, really just depends on who's going to war, what's going on, the reasoning why they go to war. I mean, Trump isn't that protectionist, not you, PG. Oh, I thought you were actually talking about me. Biotechnology, what can we do here? We're only producing 47 biotechnologies. We have coal, computer hardware industry. Can we import that from the United States? No, we can't. Electric automobiles. All right, let's go ahead and end that meeting. Hey, thank you so much for joining the Discord, James. And if you guys have actually not joined the Discord, please go ahead and join my Discord if you are actually interested. We actually do, it's kind of not that active, so if you're looking for an active Discord server, you might be disappointed. But if you guys want to make it active, please do so. I mean, the more y'all are participating, the more I will participate, because I actually did take a hiatus from YouTube a while ago. So if you are interested in bringing back the Discord, please do so. Let's go ahead and cancel that. Tax on petroleum and energy products. Let's go ahead and put that at a flat 5. That's going to be the fixed amount. It's going to be it's going to be like 50 cents per liter. It's going to net us about $400 million. We might have a couple of riots. Hopefully we don't have a riot. Yes, we do have a riot. First riot of the live stream, actually. So let's go ahead and send into bulldozers. I actually am able to manage this well enough to where I don't have to worry about the bulldozers. Oh, and we lost that cop at the State Square. Nice. Officer killed in Tokyo. Damn. Oh my. Okay, yeah, we definitely have to send in the bulldozers. Let's go ahead and defend the National Parliament real quick. Let's get this guy right here. I can see why you're bored. Your certs don't have the... Yeah. Are you saying I'm an idiot? Are you saying I'm an idiot? Because I probably am. Alright, we finally got that guy. Let's go ahead and send in the bulldozers all the way. Let's go here. Give the army the order to attack and end the uprising. Yeah, the graphics are pretty cringe, honestly. I mean, they're not the best. I mean, look, these houses. At least one of the really good things about it, it actually changes depending on where you actually are. I mean, the maps actually change depending on your country. I think in Germany, like these are kind of like stock city levels, but I mean in Washington DC, that's pretty interesting. They also have, oh, that riot's done. I love how PG responds as if every comment I make is directed at him. Thank you. I mean, I don't know who you're talking to, so I mean, I'm just reading. God damn it. Don't make fun of me. I take things personally. We have a lot of people watching. This is actually a really successful live stream. Everyone, thank you so much for joining in on this live stream. And manage arms embargoes. Who do I want to block from getting weapons from me? Do you think we should turn Japan into a republic after World War II? Honestly, maybe. I mean, a Japanese republic wouldn't be that bad, honestly. I could actually do some sort of series as Japan, to where, I mean, it's going to be focused on the economy, but at the same time, we are actually turning them into a republic. So that would actually be interesting, which in the game actually, one of the really cool things about the 2020 edition is actually there's going to be a lot more emphasis on PMs in Japan are appointed or elected. They're actually appointed. But actually one of the cool things about the 2020 edition is actually going to be, is that there's going to be a little more emphasis on creating some sort of republic. So switching from a monarchy to a republic, or from a some sort of like, you know, parliamentary system to a republic, that's actually going to be way more emphasized in the next edition of Power and Revolution. I am very excited to do that. So actually, the first live stream I'm actually going to be holding on the 2020 edition, and hopefully I actually am able to give away a couple of codes for y'all. There is actually going to be, I'm probably actually going to try to turn Japan into a republic, so that would actually be really fun. I would kind of like a geopolitics game with Crusader Kings 2 graphics. I've actually never played Crusader Kings, honestly. PG gets bullied every day anyway. Hell yeah, I do. Why do you think I'm like thinking that you're talking about me all the time? Nah, I have fun. Wow, $97 billion in my energy industry. That's awesome. Actually, most of that money, most of this $97 billion actually came from me selling the, it was actually, or buying all of the stock in the nuclear generated electricity sector. Because I actually nationalized this after I already had like I had a couple of facilities, and so I actually did that. So that's actually why it was so expensive, because I actually ended up having to drop like $40 billion just to buy out the rest of the sectors. Oh, there's a famine in Iraq. Let's go ahead and actually send them some assistance. Let's go ahead and send them about $70 million worth of funds. Tulsi 2024. Anyone here who supports Tulsi, please actually say so. And if you actually like Tulsi, what is the reason why you actually like Tulsi? One of the reasons why I actually kind of liked Tulsi, I wasn't supporting her, but I actually like Tulsi because she is one of the more conservative Democrats, and I mean, ironically, from Hawaii. I mean, she's actually a really cool, you know, representative. So I actually do think that she would actually be beneficial if she were in some sort of, you know, statewide or national office. So her in Congress actually is pretty cool because she's actually not that much of a progressive either. I wonder whether to wait for 2020 edition or buy this one. In my opinion, actually, I would actually say just wait for the 2020 edition. Yeah, GPS is basically the only game of its kind. And that's why I really don't think that it should be sold off to something like Paradox, because this game is literally the only thing. It's the only game of its kind. I mean, look at this. I mean, you can manage all of these sectors. Look at all of this. And there's tens of thousands of different kinds of situations that you can get into that again, it's awesome, honestly. If you don't bomb Hawaii right now, I'll riot. Apparently, there's a movement in my chat stream for me to bomb Hawaii. So, in response, actually, Yokosuka, let's go ahead and move these guys north of Hawaii. Let's move them far enough from the territorial waters of the United States to not bring in any suspicion, even though having any sort of military movement at all would be pretty interesting. Wish I actually had an aircraft carrier because let me actually go ahead and check. Where's my military equipment? Let's go down. Aircraft carrier. We do not have an aircraft carrier. We have a famine. $2 billion has been assigned to the Department of the Treasury to deal with this famine. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Looks like that the famine situation has actually been dealt with. That's awesome. We finally moved through the disaster that decimated a very, very large... what's going on here? Law on petroleum products. Oh yeah, we are suffering another riot in Tokyo. Prime Minister, we are extremely unhappy about the increased fuel tax. We consider it a discriminatory measure that targets drivers. Which actually, speaking of drivers, I'm going to deal with that situation in a second. Let's go to Japan. We have a famine. That's... wow! Oh my god. $1 trillion is how much that costed us. We absolutely cannot afford to fund that at one time. That is... wow. I'm sorry. Wow. God, there's a lot of comments being held for review. Stop saying that stuff, guys. Oh my god, I really need to edit Nightbot. Yeah, all of y'all literally keep on saying to bomb Hawaii, and for some reason Nightbot keeps on muting you. I'm gonna go ahead and change that in a second. Honestly, I'll probably have to go into Nightbot and do that. Let me actually look at Nightbot right now while I deal with this riot. Let me go ahead and give the order to attack and end the uprising. Speaking of, actually, let's go ahead and check the leaderboards to see who is talking the most in my live stream. Because actually, I'll probably do a couple of rewards for who's actually participating the most in what's going on. What's going on here? I guess they all froze in place or something? Oh, this guy right here. I hate that. Oh god, we just blew him up. Wow. That was gross. F in chat for Communist Japan. Yep, everyone say F in chat for Communist Japan. Oh my god, hang on. Let me try to fix this thing where I'm literally having an issue with y'all getting muted. Jesus Christ. Like, I literally don't care about y'all saying, like, nuke all of this. Hang on. Options. Where is it? Links. Let me go ahead and disable, like, the blacklisted, I guess. That's funny. I swear to God, I'm gonna blacklisted again if any of y'all break the rule, but I'm just gonna have, honestly, I'm just gonna have to go in. I'm gonna have to, like, whitelist certain words, I guess. Mass starvation has its perks. Everyone starts saying F in the chat. Hell yeah. I don't know what y'all are saying F about, but... Alright, energy. Let's see what's going on over here. And... nuclear electricity. It's actually funny, I actually switched over from regular nuclear electricity to 3G EPR electricity. I literally just got rid of it, and it's still, like, hiding... Is Liberal Democrats forever in Japan? Why is it blocking that? I swear to God. That's weird. I don't know. If it's blacklit, okay. For one thing, just wait until the next live stream to, you know, have your little meme. I'm tired of it, you know, blacklisting, I guess, for that. So, like, you know, having, you know, I mean, shit, honestly, I'll probably nuke North Korea sometime soon, but if it's really like blacklisting it, just, you know, just hold off on it for right now, because I just need to make sure, like, I need to make sure that I'm able to not have y'all get blocked, I guess, because that's starting to become an issue. Camp Humphreys in South Korea. Do not commit, explode Hawaii. Our ship is already on its way. Hey, I mean, Midway is like right here. Midway is like right here. I'm gonna send them in Midway. When is the next live stream? Honestly, I usually do my live streams whenever it's like, oh crap, we're moving through American territorial waters. Why is that blocked off? Unless we're not being seen by the enemy. Huh, that's interesting. Let's move it out of the territorial waters, see what happens. That's cool, actually. Yo, that is cool. Yo, what is that? Oh yeah, whatever. You didn't say that like 30 minutes ago. We got a hurricane, $8 million. What is this? At the National Festival. You should liberate South Korea and help North Korea reunite the peninsula. Yeah, you want me to join in on the North Korean side? That would get the United States on my ass. PG, leave my Hawaii brethren alone. What is going on? They're still moving toward the Northern Pacific. Unhealthy Japan, or it's not called, like, you know, like the Empire of Japan. The state of Japan, I mean, you could, but there's actually literally no other name for Japan. Unless you literally want to call it like Hippon or something like that. Like, it's literally just Japan. The names of countries are actually really interesting to me. So that's why actually whenever you notice my series come out, artificial, isn't it the Empire of Japan? It was the Empire of Japan, but now it is literally just called Japan. Any tips after conquering oil countries? Just sell the oil, I guess. All right. Unemployment has stagnated at 4%. That is good. That is okay. We have a 2.13% growth rate as the nation. Budget deficit of 2.95%. We have, he can now give me new figures relating to state debt. Total public debt is to say the engagements of the state in terms of loans rises to $11.5 billion. The debt service or the annual reimbursement level of our debt will rise to the new year at $270 billion every year. So basically we're spending $270 billion just to pay the interest on our debt. Finally, the most significant figure, our budgetary deficit has risen to 2.95% of the GDP, which is actually very, very good. Wow, China discovers the leprosy vaccine. That is awesome. Which actually, yeah. Okay, so Zach actually has it right. Japan actually still has an emperor. If you actually were paying attention to Japan last year, you'll know that Japan actually did get a new emperor. The son of the guy who started World War II Emperor, what is it? Is it Naruhito? No, okay, Naruhito is the guy who is emperor right now. The guy beforehand, his name slips from me. Someone's gonna be able to say it right now. But yeah, the former emperor, after, okay, so the guy who started World War II, he led Japan continuously after World War II, from the end of World War II all the way to 1989, whenever he died. His son took over from 1989 on, all the way up to okay, so Hirohito was the guy who led World War II. He led until 1989. The guy who was after World War II, okay, so it was Naruhito. Naruhito was the no. Okay, it's Akihito. Akihito, Emperor Akihito is the son of Hirohito. Okay, I really need to look this up. Hang on. Akihito was the guy who just resigned last year. He is still alive, but he actually abdicated the throne because of his age and declining health. So it was actually a tradition for the Japanese emperor to actually hold the throne until his death. So Akihito actually wanted to live out the rest of his days in privacy. So in order to do that, he abdicated the throne, and then he allowed his oldest son Naruhito to take over. So the current emperor of Japan is now the grandson of the former emperor of Japan, Hirohito. Okay, so it's Hirohito, Akihito, and Naruhito. Okay, I'm getting that confused. So that's a little history lesson for you. They had to keep Hirohito because that was one of the terms for the peace treaty between Japan and the United States. Yeah, and actually one of the most interesting things is that a mistake that the United States could have learned from whenever they went into Iraq is actually one of the reasons why Iraq was actually the way it was, is because we got rid of Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was one of the people that was actually able to keep the secular government that it was. So now that Saddam Hussein was removed, the United States actually created a power vacuum that was unable to be sealed by anyone. So no one was actually able to keep, the Kurds down. They weren't able to keep the religious secularism away from each other. So that's why Iraq ended up turning into a civil war. In turn, the best decision that the United States was actually able to make after World War II was actually to keep the emperor involved in Japanese politics. Except that the only thing is that Japan does not actually have a cap on Japan was actually, they were wanting to get rid of the emperor afterward to try and indicate him on war crimes against the United States and the world. But in order to prevent a possible communist takeover, because the Russians, the Soviets were actually way ready to, take over Japan, but it was either surrender to the Soviets or to surrender to the United States. And the Japanese government actually knew and trusted the United States enough to where they were actually comfortable enough to surrender to them. So that is actually why the reason why Japan actually surrendered to the United States over the Russians, because the Russians were actually going to literally destroy the Japanese way of life. The Japanese wanted to keep their way of life, and they trusted that the United States was going to allow them to do that. And the United States knew that if they got rid of the emperor, there would be a massive revolt against the United States, because they got rid of the one thing that they know and love, and which is their emperor. All right, let's see what's going on in the United Nations. Ask for permanent status of the Security Council. Now, we would be able to do that actually if we had the support of China. However, we would be voted down against by the Chinese government, because the Chinese probably do not want us to become a permanent member. Japan is in a position that reminds me slightly of countries like Poland for some reason. Yeah, I mean, Japan is in a pretty good position both economically and politically because, I mean, they have one of the most stable governments in the world. I mean, they don't have a terrorism problem. They don't have an issue with, the inside or the outside. The only issue they really have with the outside is with China because of the Spratly Islands and some of the islands over in this region right here south of the Ryukyu Islands. All right, let's go over here. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of the debilitate. Oh, okay, guess not. Let's go ahead and rehabilitate about 70,000 houses for that. We're actually really running a really healthy deficit right now. We're actually running with a 3.5% deficit. This is not healthy in terms of how much debt, how much we're actually spending over how much we're making, but at the same time we are actually handling it like well enough to where we're actually, we're not incurring that much debt every quarter. So we're actually able to actually have a very firm grasp on the Japanese economy right now to where we're not having an issue with debt or the situation, which the only issue that we're actually having is that 13% of our budget is actually going toward debt reimbursement, about $200 billion a year. So we need to get that number down. But at the same time, we actually do, again, have a very, very firm grasp on the economy enough to where we're not incurring that much debt every quarter. Let's go over to taxation. Let's go to financial transactions. Let's do this with a TV address. See how that does. That's going to pass, finally. Finally, we get a little bit of an increase on the financial transaction tax. And hopefully that, okay, yeah, we're still handling a very, very healthy approval rating. Approval ratings actually have a very direct sort of case. They actually, like, whenever your approval actually plummets, it actually affects how much your party and the other parties actually want to vote for something. So parties that actually are against you are actually going to vote firmly against you, and even your own party will vote against you if you have a very low approval rating, which usually the lowest whenever they really start voting against what you want is whenever your approval rating is around 50-60%. Whenever you get into the high 80s and 90s is whenever you actually are able to get a lot of things passed, especially whenever you ask for it. Huh. Geo, good situation with you. At least you have a power generator. If you guys are watching right now, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Please consider becoming a member. Please consider, joining the community tab. If you actually join the community tab, once I actually get enough people to support my content the way I do it, I will actually start holding members only live streams. I only have 2 people that are actually on here, AMN and I believe the other guy, I forgot his name. His name is Solitaris. So AMN and Solitaris, thank you so much for becoming members of PG. And if you actually want to become a member, again, just hit that little blue icon right next to the subscribe button. And if you're actually not a part of the notification squad, consider hitting that bell icon so you can actually be notified whenever I go live and whenever I post new content for you guys. I am actually starting a new emphasis on Power and Revolution content. I am actually finally getting back into Power and Revolution. So if you guys want to see more, I am currently doing a United States series. I'm continuing the United States series. So if you guys want to see more of that, please hit that notification icon so you can know whenever I actually post something. We have a Kalashnikov attack in front of the National Museum. Looks like we don't have a... Whoa, looks like that passed. More so because we had the Enlightenment in the 1600s and 1700s had a longer time to develop more individualistic culture. Yeah, I mean, that's, the Europeans and the Asians actually have extremely different sort of, economic systems, and especially some sort of, the Europeans had more of a system that was more based on religion. In East Asia, they actually had more of a emphasis on collectivism, and because I mean they're so compact. I mean, China has 1.4 billion people. The Japanese have around 100, 120, 130 million people, but they're all so compact. Then yeah, I mean, of course you're going to have a collectivist sort of ideal. So that's the usually, I mean, the way I look at it, that's usually the reason why they have such a collectivism sort of economic system, is because I mean they're all so compact. Mongolia can literally be a powerhouse. I actually don't know. I mean, honestly, maybe. I mean, they have the land for it. They probably have the economic power to do it. It just needs investment. Mongolia honestly could become a pretty good powerhouse. I mean, the only issue is that they are literally landlocked between the two most powerful countries in the world. So they could do it as long as they have the backing of at least one of these countries. I mean, they had the backing of the Soviet Union, but then whenever the Soviet Union collapsed, yeah, they collapsed too. Let's see what the currency situation is. We're reaching around 2% inflation, which is actually very, very healthy. So that's actually really good. Why constantly sit in demonstrations about security policy? If you were here earlier, it's the reason is because because Japan in the game and in real life is very, very isolationist. They really, really don't like to be involved in other. They don't want to be involved in world security situations, so again, that's the reason why. I mean, their population has basically been accustomed to the self-defense force. They're not the ones to be going on military conquests. PG forgot to bomb Hawaii SMH. I mean, I still got a ship there. I remember that it's there. I mean activate zone defense. That's actually one of the coolest things. They actually have zone defenses. So actually I can make a little bit of a perimeter. Activate active zone defense. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and return it to base. Get them out of the territorial waters of the United States, just to show that we are not an aggressor. Looks like we are going to be moving through through the national waters of the United States. These are overseas territories of the United States. This is around where the Midway Islands are, actually. Speaking of military policy, we actually have no military bases in Hokkaido. So in response, actually, this is going to be as a front against the Russians, because I have, whenever I've played Japan before, I actually have been attacked by the Russians before. So what we need to do, we're going to go ahead and invest a few $1 billion into military bases. Actually, since we're not that much in a security position to have an issue against the Russians yet, we're going to go ahead and invest about 2,000 manpower at least. We're going to invest that into 2 naval bases in northern Japan. We're going to go ahead and build it, one right here, and then we're going to build the second one. We're going to again do this. We're going to invest about, this one is going to be a little bit faster, make sure this one's done. We're going to build this just east or west of Sapporo. So that's going to be the other one. So we have 2 new naval bases on the way. We have a couple of military bases already in the Hokkaido region, so that is going to increase our naval and security presence in the northern part of Japan. And that is, as a front against the Russians, because the Russians, again, have attacked me before. Looks like our oil platform is actually done. We're sucking up about 122,000 tow worth of oil in this region right here. Doesn't look like that is efficient, I guess, so that kind of sucks. And let's go ahead and get rid of this song. Army, let's go ahead and invest more money, 330,000 people. Hopefully we are only going to have a sit-in demonstration. Yeah, oh, we have a riot. Pacifists are rioting in the streets of Tokyo. We're also going to invest more into security. We have a hurricane. All of these situations right here. I am actually going to be wrapping up this live stream here very soon, so there is really big problems. For example, about 1 million people and my compatriots live there. It's a very significantly minority to deal with. How was 2000? Oh, y'all are having y'all's own completely different debate. I'm not gonna get involved in that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna allow y'all to have this kind of debate as long as y'all are respectful to each other. So I do ask y'all to be respectful while you are having this debate. And while I deal with this riot, I actually have a phone call I have to answer, so I'll be right back. Alright, looks like I am back. Pacifist riot. Contradiction, surely? Yep, basically. So if you were actually wondering why my people are rioting so much, the reason is because I mean the Japanese are very pacifist. If you know anything about Japan, you'll know that Japan is extremely pacifist. This is because of their constitution, because of Article 9 of their constitution specifically. So please do research on the Japanese constitution. So again, that is the reason why they are actually that pacifist, that they're writing so much whenever I do, I invest money into the military. So that, again, is the reason why. They really, really don't like it whenever I invest money in the military. They want to be left alone, I guess. So again, that's really why. I believe the new way of immigrants from Syria and other countries. Again, that is not my place. We have a wave of people coming in. I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy right here. Alright, and we're going to send these guys down. Which actually, I could probably deal with this guy right here. We got a lot of people moving in. Alright, does that deal with it? Nope, we still got a couple of riots coming up on the State Square, so we're going to move our guys up there. Uh-oh, these guys are making a move on National Parliament. Let's go ahead and defend National Parliament. And move him right there. Deal with that guy, got him arrested. Deal with this guy, get him arrested. Should be the end of the riot, actually. Nope. Okay, we arrested him. Everyone should simulate the population changing political opinions over time or through government intervention. Yeah, honestly, that's one of the biggest issues that I've had is, I mean, there's no way for me to change the pacifist opinion. I mean, I want to deal with a very, interventionist population, but until there's a way for you to actually change the attitude of the country, I mean, you're not going to be able to do that. In the political process, there's a way for you to do it. I mean, it's just by, advertising and all that. But in Power and Revolution, the issue is that there's no way for you to actually change the attitude of the country. So that is whenever you have to deal with these people rioting in the streets because they don't want you, investing, recruiting 5,000 people to the military. Immigration situation still has not changed. It's actually the illegal immigrant situation is actually flatlined. Let's go ahead and see if I actually have the support to. What about for a selection of illegal immigrants based on criteria of integration? That is actually going to pass. Let's go ahead and do that. Seems a little more racist. I mean, I guess I don't know what that is actually doing because you're basically like looking at it. I mean, I guess the people liked it. In the United States, there's a sentiment against doing something like that, but I guess in Japan, there is sentiment for something like that. Yeah, I know you can make it illegal for them to be for the pacifist union. Let's go over here. Where is the pacifists? We got associations. Okay, so it's an association. Pacifists. It's not letting me click it for some reason. Establish state control. They're absolutely free. I mean, I can move them to monitored, which would kind of like probably cap their situation. Let's publicly congratulate them. I guess let's see what happens whenever I congratulate them as an association. Just make pacifism illegal. Jesus Christ, black shirt. That was rude. Yeah, if you were actually having a more formal debate, just so there's enough room for people to actually, have a conversation during this live stream, I would actually recommend moving that conversation, especially since it's kind of like, a little bit of a sensitive subject. I would actually recommend moving the conversation over to Discord if you don't mind. This is only just to make sure that, people have room to talk, if people want to ask me a question or something like that, I don't mind y'all having a conversation, but as long as it's to a point, to where people are still able and feel comfortable to talk. So I don't mind y'all having a conversation about that, but especially whenever you're talking about like an actual situation that's going on, I would actually recommend moving that over to Discord. So I do appreciate y'all actually having a conversation. I always love y'all, talking. I really, really don't mind. So again, whenever y'all notice that your comments are being hidden, that's not me doing that. It's like I don't mind y'all having a conversation. I don't mind y'all talking about sensitive subjects. I should make a Trump versus Biden channel. Yeah, I could probably do that. But yeah, so I don't mind y'all having a conversation. I really do encourage y'all to have conversations as long as y'all are respectful, as long as y'all are, you're not being rude, you're not, insulting each other. And especially on my live stream, live streams, I already have a leaderboard of how many comments are being made. So I'm going to definitely talk about like who is having the largest amount of comments. Can't wait to see who has that, because Muse actually is the leader right now. So hopefully maybe Muse actually has his throne taken off. Central African Republic wants to join the OECD. Let's go ahead and accept that. Discovery of anti-leprosy vaccine. Let's go ahead and accept that and patent it and sell it to the world. Actually, look at this. Japan has a base in Djibouti. Japan, right here. That is like Japan actually has a base. There are several military bases in Djibouti right here. So actually, just so you know, I think we're going to go ahead and start paying for this a little more. Let's go ahead and increase their our economic contribution to them by about $100 million. Because there are actually several countries that actually have bases here. So actually, Camp Lemonnier actually belongs to the United States. There is actually a Japanese installation here, it looks like. I need to see if that's actually... Because I actually was talking about this with someone yesterday, and someone, basically I looked and there was a... Camp Lemonnier is actually an airfield. It's not a naval base, as apparently the game says that it is, but it's actually an air base. And maybe the United States does have a naval base there. Actually, I need to look. But the Chinese actually also do. This is one of the only Chinese bases outside of China. A lot of disease outbreaks happening in Yemen. They're not able to get a situation under control because they're constantly at war. Make Switzerland great again. Hell yeah. Alright, let me actually see who is the leaderboard in the and who has been talking, actually. So, timers, integration, dashboard. Let's see who the top chatter is. Looks like that Muse again is the top chatter in this one. 310 messages sent, while Mr. K is 115. Michael is actually still number 3. IST Games is actually number 4, and Backstar is number 5. So congratulations to all 5 of y'all for actually contributing to the conversations that are being made in this interesting. Large increase in economic aid to Djibouti. Let's go ahead and see what my economic relations are with them. Looks like my economic strategic relations are very light green with them. That base is Japan's anti-piracy HQ for the region. Yeah, because I mean, the Horn of Africa. You got a lot of areas. I mean, this is an air base. I mean, I wonder if I can actually move a ship to the United States base. I don't know if I can actually, like, you know, requisition them and then, like, place my ships over there. Let's actually see if I can actually move at least a couple of ships to that base. Let's see, Sasebo military base. We have 3 ships that we can actually move. So hopefully this does not issue an attack order. Nope. Damien says, I am the captain now. Alright, let's actually, since that is actually a thing, let's go ahead and move a couple of ships from Sasebo. Let's move 4 ships all the way down. This is Maritime Base 1. I wish you could actually change the name of these bases instead of, you know, having them called Marb 1. That'd be interesting. The other thing that actually was supposed to be nameable was, I mean, the only thing they actually do, they name they name it instead of having, some sort of code. It's called Jifu Kanazawa Highway, and then they have like Nango Takarakazawa line. I mean, this one is the Tokyo Sendai line. So these lines are actually pretty interactable, so I actually do like that, but I really, really wish they would actually allow you to name these bases. Let's move a couple of them from... Okay, let's move 85 commandos to this naval base. Let's move a couple more. We got Kobe, Osaka. We have the Kure base. Let's go ahead and move a couple of ships down. We have the northern base. We're going to move those. I wonder how much money Djibouti makes from all those military bases. I know, right? They probably make a lot of money off of it because, I mean, those countries have to be paying the government, to have their equipment there. So let's actually move these guys. Let's move 6 of them down there. They're going to... What are y'all doing? Yeah, whatever. I guess they'll go ahead and move down from Yokosuka. Well, actually, okay. Let's move them to Yokosuka and then probably just take another, like, 4. Because we at least need a naval presence in the Bay of Japan. That would be interesting. What do you think about the borders in the game? I hate having to eat entire countries to make good borders. If the game had fluid borders like Supreme Ruler, that would be way better in my opinion. Honestly, I get that, but at the same time, I mean, the reason why you have regions in the game like these, I mean, it's so you can manage that region. I mean, you can manage the housing, the justice, the army, the electricity production, the transportation, the healthcare. You can meet with the local leaders. You can manage the telecommunication in that region. I mean, there's a reason for that, for it being the way it is. So, but at the same time, I also understand that a supreme ruler type of thing, I mean, it looks more fluid, and I get that. No one knows what other nations may be hiding. Yeah, that's another reason why I like Supreme Ruler. I just never really know how to play Supreme Ruler, I guess. Regularizing illegal immigrants. Let's see how much of a change that made. That got about, that looks like about 50,000 illegal immigrants done with. I think the borders for countries should be more realistic. I mean, in this game, I mean, they are pretty realistic. They're pretty spot on. I mean, look, they kind of like, they swing and bounce and all that. I mean, the borders in the game, in Power and Revolution at least, I mean, they're not that bad. Wait. Oh, this is a funeral. The Union of Democratic Rights Presidents has died. Let's go ahead and attend that funeral. Alright, let's see. We have 270 playbacks on this thing. We had a maximum of 40 people actually watching this live stream. So again, thank you all for the participation that you actually have been doing. Average watch time is 13 minutes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I really, really do appreciate this. We have a lot of messages going on, playbacks. We're nearing 300 views actually. So big goal actually for y'all. Let's go ahead and get this video to 300 views. This is going to be a lot of views. So if you guys can actually, share the link or maybe actually even refresh the page or something like that, I think that gives you a view. So the more that y'all come back, or the more viewers that actually end up joining, would actually be beneficial. So let's go ahead and shoot for 300 views by the end of this video. And if you actually, if one more person can actually like this video, we're actually like just under 30 likes. I've been watching for the entire live stream. Awesome. Thank you so much for your participation. I really, really do appreciate the support that you guys give me. It really, really does help. Like, it kind of gives me a purpose, I guess. Like, I mean, I always thought that, like, you know, my content was garbage, but apparently you guys really do enjoy my content. So I'll open 200 tabs, and Jesus Christ, that's probably gonna get me banned. Have you considered doing debates hosted on your channel? Let's see what this news is about. Uh-oh. Nice. Actually, honestly, if I've always thought about this, but since I've been doing so much for Eversim, and since I've actually been doing so much for Eversim and all that, who wants to start a petition actually to get me to do at least one bit of voice acting for the game? That would actually be really interesting for y'all, at least, because if y'all know my voice, it would actually be a really cool Easter egg, or having me in the game. That would actually be honestly funny, like Prime Minister Politics Gaming or something like that, or some sort, like I'm like a businessman or like an artist or something like that. Like they could put like a YouTuber or something like that, and you have to get like my support. That'd actually be really funny. No sound. Is it no sound? I don't know what's going on. Can you play the political process but play yourself? Probably. PG confirmed as a real identity of Kim Jong-un? Yes, sir. But yeah, honestly, like, since I've been covering their content for so long, I'm surprised they actually haven't asked me to do it. Because apparently, with 4th Generation Warfare, they actually got another YouTuber to do the tutorial for them. Like, because, the game literally, oh my god, Kal Il Boon, I guess, wants to meet with me. Let's go ahead and meet with them. But yeah, like, I'm surprised they actually haven't asked me to voice act, or like at least like do something for them like that, because I don't know why. OBS says that there is game sound. Let's increase that game volume, I guess. Voice act the president of the America. Well, unless you want me doing this the entire time, then you wouldn't even know that it was me. Which, honestly, I probably have like one of the worst impressions of Donald Trump, so I probably wouldn't be able to do that. But honestly, doing like some sort of character, like an artist or something like that, YouTube artist, and then like voice acting that artist, honestly, that would be interesting. I need to ask him about that, honestly. Where is this? We've got a couple of planes actually all over the United States. One is going toward that is actually Dallas. This one's going toward Dallas, Fort Worth. This one is going toward Houston, and this one is going toward Phoenix. It's funny because I'm not seeing the city names, but I actually know geographically where these areas are. So yeah, Phoenix, Houston, and Dallas. So fun fact, I know a lot about geography. Automatically know, again, Dallas, Houston, Phoenix. PG is in favor of bombing Pyongyang. No. Let's do a little more. This one's going towards Chicago, obviously. This one's going toward Minneapolis and St. Paul. And this one is going towards Chicago. Well, that wasn't fun. We don't see, one of the weird things is actually, you don't see a lot of planes like traversing like this area right here, but you always see them crossing the oceans. So honestly, I wish there was a lot more air traffic and sea traffic in the game. The voice acting would be 1,000 times better if anyone but the original voice actors did the lines. Yeah, honestly, maybe. Why Damien, why Liechtenstein? What the heck did Liechtenstein do? Liechtenstein is like right here, all between all of these. I could just nuke it once and then like all of these like Swiss and Austrian cities would like go down. Characters look like Oblivion NPCs. The advisor voice is so annoying. Yeah, oh my god, I hate the advisor. Hello, and welcome to Power and Revolution. Bad voice acting is a vital part of the game, though. Yeah, honestly, if the voice acting wasn't that bad, honestly, I mean, this game has a bit of comedy behind it. Like, the game doesn't really take itself seriously, but it also does take itself seriously. The way it takes itself seriously is by, you know, all of these policies that you can enact. But then one of the silly aspects of the game is literally the way they look and the way they sound. I mean, they honestly sound like someone's like shitting out something else, but like, I mean, honestly, it makes the game the game. I mean, it makes Power and Revolution and Geopolitical Simulator. It makes it itself, I guess. I mean, there's a little bit of, you know, authenticity that it has behind it, and that's why it really doesn't bother me, honestly. The actions have ceased in the city. So yeah, I know. I hate that, but I mean, oh, issuance of $5.71 billion worth of debt. Awesome. That number is really starting to go down. 13.3% of the budget is being spent on debt. Wow, we owe the United States of America $500 billion worth of debt. A new space bills has been passed in the House on the federal government Discord. Oh, hey, at least there's something going on with space. All right. If you guys like this, go ahead and leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Super chatting really is appreciative. It really does help me do what I do most. And so if you guys are, again, interested in becoming a member of the channel, please go ahead and join right now before I actually leave, because I am actually going to be leaving in the next couple of minutes. I have been streaming for about 2 hours, so that is actually enough for me. If you guys actually want me to like stream for as long as I possibly can, possibly like a 4 or 5 hour like Power and Revolution live stream, that would actually be pretty fun. So if you guys are interested, please become a member today. And if you are interested in that, I could actually, you know, do like a very long live stream probably in the near future. So if you guys again are interested, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will be in the next one. I will notify you whenever I actually am doing another live stream. So yeah, if you missed any of this, this live stream will be posting afterward. So again, if you guys like it, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you guys in Discord. Please join the Discord if you want to actually have a conversation after this. I know a lot of you guys are still having a couple of discussions, and we are very close to actually hitting 300 views on this video. So again, please share this video, please share my channel. It really does help whenever I get more subscribers. So again, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you guys on Discord, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream.